It's hard to put into words the sting that comes when your own family sees you as less beautiful, less worthy, less human, but that was my life. From the moment I started kindergarten, I was the fat kid. While other children were celebrated for their quirks or talents, I was marked by my size, my silence, and the space I took up. By the time I hit high school, I wasn't just overweight, I was invisible, except when I became the target of mockery. Classmates would whisper, laugh, make jokes at my expense. Sometimes loudly, I became the girl everyone looked through, or worse, laughed at. The cafeteria was the worst. I'd carry my lunch tray like it was a ticking bomb, always on edge, waiting for the next joke, the next tray bump, the next humiliation. So I retreated into books. Stories became my only refuge. They didn't judge me, didn't ask why I didn't fit in, didn't care that I didn't own skinny jeans or have a date to prom. But even that safe space earned me another label, the nerd. It was better than cow or blimp, I guess. Bonnie, my younger sister, was the exact opposite, just a year younger, but light years apart in the way the world adored her. Bonnie could walk into a room and own it. Her laugh was a magnet, her beauty, effortless, her charm, dangerous. At first, I adored her. I mean, she was my baby sister. I felt protective, proud when she joined me at my high school. But the admiration I had for her slowly turned into heartbreak, because once she realized I wasn't cool, she dropped me. At school, she started avoiding me like I was contagious. And then she did worse. She mocked me, joined in with the very people who humiliated me daily. I'd walk through the halls and feel her gaze like a sniper sight, always ready to laugh, to trip me, to make me the joke. At home, it didn't stop. She brought her friends into my room. Without knocking, pointing, giggling, calling me fatty and geek, my own space was no longer safe. I felt like a circus act in my own home, an animal everyone came to poke. I tried to talk to my parents. I begged them to understand, to make it stop, but they dismissed it as sibling teasing. They told me to lighten up, that it was my fault for being so sensitive. Bonnie's just playing. They said, "You're the older one. Be patient, be tough." So I learned to stay silent. The only time my parents really saw me was when I brought home perfect grades. I clung to that being the smart one, the reliable one, the child they could show off. I was their trophy nerd, their little genius. They'd brag about me like I was their parenting award, and Bonnie hated it. She wasn't interested in academics, and every time they compared her to me, I saw the jealousy harden in her eyes. That's when she started sabotaging me. I'd wake up one morning before a big test to find my homework missing. I'd panic, tear apart my folders, check under the bed, plead with the universe, and there she'd be, leaning in the doorway, smirking. She knew how much my grades meant to me. She knew it was the only place I felt worthy, and she enjoyed breaking it. Years later, she admitted it, drunk, laughing like it was some hilarious teenage prank. But it wasn't funny, not to me, and no apology ever came. Eventually, I moved out. New city, new job, new life. I started to breathe again. For once, I felt like I was more than a punchline or a GPA. When I finally came home last summer, I expected a warm reunion. I hadn't seen my family in a while, and I genuinely missed them. The lunch started off fine laughter, catching up, shared stories. Then Bonnie dropped the bomb she was engaged. Everyone erupted in cheers. Even I clapped, told her the ring was beautiful. I was happy for her, truly. Until she looked at me and said, "If your life is so great, why are you still fat?" The room fell silent, and I laughed, awkwardly, because what else could I do? But my parents didn't stay quiet. They joined in, they nodded, piling on, talking about how they were worried I'd never find a man or have kids. I sat there, shrinking with every word, feeling like the overweight, awkward teenager I thought I'd left behind. I tried to speak up, told them I was happy, that I loved my work, that I didn't need a husband or children to feel fulfilled. But they weren't listening. My mom scoffed. "What's the point of money if there's no one to share it with?" Then Bonnie, with her perfect grin, added, "Just make sure you have a +1 at my wedding. I don't want people thinking my sister's some old lonely woman while I'm getting married." I nodded. I laughed. I said I'd try, and that's when my parents suggested it seriously this time. That if I couldn't find someone, I could at least lose weight. "You've got a year," they said. "Start now. Look good for the photos." Bonnie chimed in with a fake smile. "Yeah, just lose a few pounds." For me, I didn't answer, not out loud, but inside, something snapped. Have you ever been humiliated so deeply by the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally that it reignites every buried scar from your past? That's what happened to me. After everything I'd been through, all the pain, all the growth, all the quiet battles I fought alone, I thought, just maybe, my family would be proud, but instead, they tried to shrink me back into a version of myself that no longer existed. When I left that family lunch the year before, something inside me broke, but in the best way. I didn't cry on the plane home. I didn't wallow in self-pity. I got angry, and then I got focused. At first, I started losing weight just to prove them wrong. But somewhere along the way, it became something for me. I threw myself into the gym, hired a personal trainer who understood the emotional baggage I carried alongside the physical weight. She had been there herself, and she didn't just give me a workout plan. She gave me a mirror to see my strength. Slowly, the weight started coming off, but more than that, the fog started lifting. People started treating me differently. Strangers smiled more. Friends paid attention in ways they never had before. My wardrobe changed. My posture changed. I dyed my hair blonde on a whim, and for once, I didn't second-guess it. I liked the person I saw in the mirror, not just because she looked good, but because she felt powerful. And then came the invitation to another family lunch. Just 2 weeks before Bonnie's wedding, every nerve in my body wanted to say no. I didn't want to walk back into that house only to be torn down again. But something in me knew I had to go. Not for them, for me. I showed up. The moment I walked through the door, time froze. My parents' faces twisted in shock. Their eyes went wide, mouths slightly agape, as though they were looking at a ghost. I hugged them, pretending I didn't notice how stunned they were. Compliments spilled out of their mouths, praising how beautiful I looked, how unbelievable the transformation was. And then Bonnie walked in. She didn't even look at me at first habit, probably, but the second I stood to greet her, her entire body flinched. Her eyes grew huge. She reached out and poked my stomach, like she needed physical proof that the fat was really gone. Everyone laughed at her surprise, but I didn't laugh, not really, because I saw it in her eyes, envy. At the table, they peppered me with questions about my transformation. Bonnie, always the actress, said, "When I asked you to lose weight, I didn't expect you to look this pretty. Pretty, like I had earned a prize I never qualified for before." She added, "I didn't even know you had that jawline. Or those ankles." I took a breath, smiled sweetly, and said, "Bonnie, I've always been pretty. Losing weight just let you finally see it." But she didn't stop. Then came the big one. "Did you have surgery? There's no way you look this good by yourself." I could feel the anger bubbling beneath my skin, but instead of lashing out, I stared straight at her and replied, "Wow, Bonnie, it's amazing how little you think of me. No surgery, just hard work and a lot of self-love. Something you might want to try sometime." Her smile dropped, and I knew I had struck a nerve. That's when my mother, queen of backhanded compliments, tried to smooth things over. "You shouldn't be offended," she said. "It's just that, honestly, you look even more beautiful now than Bonnie does. And she's the one getting married?" Bonnie's face flushed red. She stared down at her plate while I sipped my water with a calmness I had never known. Then Mom added, "You should consider going back to your natural hair color. This blonde. It makes you stand out too much." My dad chimed in. "Bonnie's always been the blonde. You've always been the brunette. Maybe you should go back to looking like yourself." I was stunned. So this was their problem. They had asked me to shrink, to become more acceptable for Bonnie's wedding. But now that I had blossomed into something beautiful, confident, and bold. They wanted me to fade back into the background. I looked at them and asked, "Why can't I be blonde too? Does Bonnie own the color now? It's my hair, my life. Why does it matter to you so much?" My mom scoffed. "You're trying to upstage your sister. You're drawing too much attention to yourself." Bonnie added, "You already lost weight. Isn't that enough? Do you really need to take my hair color too?" I could feel my voice tremble not from fear, but fury. "You think this is about you, that I changed just for your wedding?" My father, of course, took their side. "You're being difficult. You should be more supportive as her sister." And that was it. That was the final crack. I sat back, took a long, slow breath, and said, "You know what, I'm done. You want to critique my looks? Let's go." I turned to my mother. "Mom, I hate how your lips droop when you laugh, and your teeth. They're all over the place. Honestly, it's disgusting." Her jaw dropped. Then to my dad, "You're bald. You've got nothing to say about anyone's hair." And finally, I looked at Bonnie, my sister, who had taunted, mocked, and belittled me my entire life. "And you don't ever speak down to me again. I've always been better looking. And now that I've lost the weight, you're the one who looks fat. Look at your arms." She gasped. Her face turned crimson. Her eyes welled up. And for the first time in our lives, she looked small. I raised my glass, drained it in one swift gulp, and stood up. Without another word, I walked out, leaving all three of them in stunned silence. For years, they made me feel less than, like I had to earn their love, their approval. Like I had to fit in by shrinking myself physically, emotionally, even mentally, but not anymore. I didn't just lose weight. I shed the expectations, the shame, the labels they forced on me. They wanted to humiliate me, but in the end, I made them feel the burn. I wish I could say walking out of that house was the end of it, that my silence would finally force them to reflect on their cruelty, but no, of course not. Instead, they flooded my phone, voicemails, texts, emails, all filled with the same bitter tone how disrespectful I had been, how foul-mouthed, how immature it was to just leave after everything they'd done for me. My mother even had the audacity to say that if I didn't show up to Bonnie's wedding, it would make her look bad in front of her in-laws, because, of course, it wasn't about love, or family, or understanding. It was about appearances. As always, they didn't call to apologize. They didn't ask how I felt. They didn't try to understand why I walked out. All they cared about was saving face. That's when I realized I had no place in their picture-perfect fantasy, not unless I made myself small again, not unless I changed back into someone who accepted their insults with a smile and kept showing up to play the part of the lesser daughter. So, you know what I did? I skipped the wedding, and I don't regret a single second of it. Instead of flying back to be paraded around like a prop in Bonnie's bridal show, I booked myself into a 5-star resort, last minute, all on a whim, and honestly, it was glorious. No judgment, no comparisons, no whispered insults or backhanded compliments, just me. I spent the weekend exactly how I wanted, lounging in plush robes, indulging in spa treatments, sipping cocktails by the pool, and binge-watching every guilty pleasure show I had saved. I explored new corners of the city I'd always put off. I let the sunshine soak into my skin and reminded myself how far I'd come, and when the texts kept rolling in, I blocked them, all of them. My mother, my father, Bonnie, blocked, because I finally understood something that had taken me a lifetime to learn. I don't owe anyone access to me just because we share DNA. If someone consistently tears you down, it doesn't matter if they're family, they are still toxic. And I'm done letting that poison seep into my life. They made my childhood hell. They turned my sister into a weapon against me. They convinced me that I had to change just to earn their love. And when I did, when I finally became confident, radiant, and strong, they hated it even more, because they never wanted me to shine. They just wanted me to fit into the mold they created. But now, I've broken it. I'm not the overweight, awkward girl desperate for scraps of validation anymore. I'm not the nerdy kid who hides behind books because the real world is too cruel. And I'm sure as hell not the sister who'll sit quietly while Bonnie gets to mock me again. I'm me, and I like who I am. No more shrinking, no more playing small, no more asking for permission to feel good about myself. I've deleted their numbers. I've cleared my inbox, and I've started journaling every morning to remind myself of my worth. This staycation. It wasn't a break. It was a reclamation of my body, of my voice, of my boundaries, of my peace. I may have missed the wedding, but I attended something far more important, the rebirth of my self-respect. And for once in my life, I don't feel like the side character in someone else's story. I'm finally the main character in my own. This story is a powerful reminder that true transformation goes far beyond physical appearance. It is about reclaiming self-worth, setting boundaries, and refusing to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. For much of her life, the narrator lived under the weight of judgment, not just from strangers, but from the people closest to her, her parents and sister, who consistently demeaned her for not fitting into their shallow standards of beauty and success. Even after she achieved a dramatic physical transformation, their criticisms didn't stop, they simply changed shape, revealing that their love was always conditional. This teaches us a crucial life lesson, no matter how much we evolve. We can't force others to grow with us, and sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away from those who refuse to see our value. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's survival. Setting boundaries with family can be painful, but it is necessary when those relationships become sources of emotional harm. The narrator's journey is not just one of weight loss, it's a journey of emotional emancipation, a defiant act of self-love in the face of toxic expectations. Her decision to skip her sister's wedding and prioritize her peace speaks volumes. Healing often requires distance, solitude, and the courage to break generational cycles. In a world obsessed with appearances, the real glow-up is discovering that you don't need validation from anyone to live fully and authentically. Your value doesn't depend on others' approval, and the moment you stop seeking it is the moment you truly begin to thrive. This story encourages all of us to stand firm in our self-worth, to love ourselves loudly, and to never let anyone, family, or not dim our light just because it shines too brightly for their comfort. Thanks so much for watching this story to the end. If you found value in it, whether it made you reflect, feel empowered, or just reminded you that you're not alone, please comment one down below. Your support means everything, and it helps more people discover these stories that deserve to be heard. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Whether it's a sibling, a friend, or someone going through something similar, this message could make all the difference. And before you go, I'd love to know, how did this story make you feel? Did it resonate with you in any way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them. Until next time, take care of yourself, protect your peace, and remember, your story matters.